All right, hello everybody. Today's revenge raid is Mr. ChOw. It was actually something that happened to me really late last night, and so I'm gonna be showing you that in just a second. But before that, I wanted to talk about a couple of important things. So here we go. So first off, this one is a really big deal here. If you're into my videos, you're into raiding and finding out all the little tricks to raid better. And this guy just figured out the granddaddy of them all. So if you've been raiding for a while, you've probably had the big one despawn on you at some point. It usually happens on big bases. And this guy, using the clear data trick, kind of figured out how to make it work somewhat reliably. So please, by all means, watch this video and you'll kind of learn the trick to make it happen most of the time. I have yet to do it myself. So that's the next time I get one of these bases, for sure I'm going to be trying it. That's a really big deal if you're able to do that, not only because it allows you to fully raid the base, but it also lets you tear the base apart, which is great for getting a lot of skills. Unfortunately, he doesn't really go into the why it works, the technical aspects that cause this to happen. I know when it happened to me, it was nothing like what happened with him. But if this is a good, reliable way to do it, then I mean that's the way to always try to make it happen that way. That's number one, and number two is I also just wanted to take a second to promote LDOE Pro. He's a pretty hardcore grinder. He makes me look like I don't try very hard at all. So he's got a really cool looking bass, and I just wanted to suggest you guys watch some of his videos. I've learned a couple of good tricks from him in the winter zone, and also just some shameless self-promotion here. I just uploaded this video, Building the Ultimate Raid Trap, and I would highly recommend you watch this. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I raided a base called Mad Check, I believe. And this guy had a crazy trap in here that looked like it was made using an infected chest. And it took me a while to kind of figure out how to make it work, but I finally got an infected chest, and I'm taking a stab at it. I don't know for sure if I did it right. So I'll be keeping you updated on this, but this is something well worth watching. That video didn't get a ton of views, and this is something you guys should be aware of. If nothing else, if you're watching my videos, you'll know to watch out for things like this and not have a tragic experience like I had when I encountered his base. So, on to the raid. Okay, so like I said, I was just going to bed, and then I wanted to go double check my recycler and make sure that I had what I needed in there, and turns out I had gotten raided, which is horrible timing. If I'd went to bed, I wouldn't have had the chance in the morning to check it out and do that raid. So I went ahead and just did it. So I was in a pretty big rush, and it unfortunately has turned out to be a nice raid where you get to break everything, and kind of one of my favorites. So I was kind of impatiently doing it, and I screw up quite a bit at the end, but that's one of the good things about my videos is I'm not afraid to show where I screw up, so you guys just get to see it and laugh. So I'm kind of probing in this base, and I'm trying to make a long path, so I'm not going directly towards the center on a base like this. I'm kind of working my way around, hoping to get a block, and there it is. Now, you can't go through a block if there are side walls, so I have to break a wall on the side. It doesn't matter if it's next to the chest or the spot behind it. You got to break something to get in. And behind there, tucked away, is a chest right there. So I'm just kind of thinking about how I want to make my running path. The best bases, when you have blocks, the blocks are in the middle of the base, because that means you can run back and forth on either side of the block and work both sides of the base. You don't have to just run, like if the block's on the outside, you got to run outside and wait for the big one to run all the way around and then run back in, and it takes forever. So blocks kind of in the middle of the base are really ideal. So here I am just kind of pounding away around the perimeter. I decided the longest path was going to be going this way and then back up towards my chopper. And that's also a plus to have an entrance to the base that's next to your chopper, because at the end when you're running off the screen and getting the big one to follow you off and coming back in, you want to be able to get into the base quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of my first wave. And that'll do it for that. And back to excavating my path here. In addition to doing this, I'm also, checking out to see what else you might have hidden in the walls. You never know. I definitely encounter the occasional base that has hidden chests inside random honeycomb. So it does happen. There was a little bit of that here. Obviously, this chest that I found was tucked away. And at this point, I'm decided based off my noise and the gun that I brought that I don't want to summon the third wave. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop this one hidden chest I found and head back home and get more stuff. And it turns out to be his best chest. There's steel and gas, copper, aluminum, another transmitter. So at this point, I'm ready to go ahead and do the suicide trick. So heading back up to my chopper once I remember where I parked it. And yeah, I kind of screwed up on the gas a little, but whatever. Like I said, I was in a big rush to just do this raid real quick. So now I'm dumping off my stuff. This is something I always do because I have had the occasional raid where my body disappeared, and that's a bad thing when you're relying on your armor and other things on you. And I'm going to head over here to my chopper, and this is a good spot to die. And I'm going to head back to my base. So I'll get geared up, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I've kind of equipped a bunch of axes, and I'm just kind of coming up here to show you where I'm starting to work on my infected chest plan. And I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. And I'll be getting right back to my raid. And ready to go. Here we go. So, like I said before, don't ever take the last item out of your body or you lose your ability to put things in there. Now, on a raid like this, because of the situation of me wanting to probe everything and make a path, I don't really have enough noise left over to really open up much and load my body, so that kind of trick doesn't work too well on a base like this. All right, so I have my path, and I'm just about ready to summon my third wave. Of course, I haven't bothered to put my armor back on. Like I said, I'm kind of not doing a good job on this one. There's my armor. And some axes. And my food. Alright, so I'm probing a little bit more. This guy has, for those of you kind of new to the game, this guy has kind of the best style of base for just getting going, getting ready for raids and whatnot. This is pretty much what you need to be doing. Just kind of honeycomb around, put your best stuff in the middle. You don't actually need to hide your best stuff like he does in the honeycombs. That makes it great for protecting it from people that are real people that are raiding your base, but that doesn't affect you anyways, so it's not a big deal. You don't need to do that. Later on, when you're just trying to be more sneaky and make your base more difficult to raid, you can do that. So now I'm softening up the chest. Eventually, when raiding becomes real, if it ever does, then just randomly hiding your best stuff in honeycombs in your base is a really excellent way of keeping stuff safe, because it just makes it such a pain to find. So there's another chest hidden in the honeycomb. Softened it up. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know if there were going to be chests in more of these walls. That's his little outdoor area inside. And a bunch of armor. Nothing too great in here. So I'm going to go ahead and load up my chopper while I have a chance. And I'm getting low on axes. I gave that one hit just to soften it up. And now I'm making a tragic mistake. Right before you summon the big one, you need to open that path. I got careful, and that's great. So I'm really blowing it here, and you're going to see it happen. And I just did this on a raid like 2 raids ago, and so it's. I like to make the excuse that I just, was in a big rush, but I got to start paying more attention. Because see, now he's going to teleport, and now I'm going to take a ton of hits trying to pop this thing open. Almost dying. That's a big mistake. Always make sure that running path is open. Now, another problem with a base like this is the wall trick. Because he's running around in close quarters in hallways right next to you, he's going to want to wall trick a lot, and when he's doing that, every time he hits the wall, he becomes stronger, and you need to be really careful to not ever let him hit any walls. Especially when I let him beat on me a bunch at the beginning. That just primes him up. He gets pretty buff. And so it's a challenge trying to stay away from the walls where he's running in these close quarters. Oh, see, there he is again. I decided to go stand by the chopper as much as I could just because it was the only thing away from the walls. So at this point, I'm just popping as much stuff open as I can. I've reached the 100 noise limit, so I just went ahead and crafted the rest of those axes. Now I have enough to finish raiding everything. And of course, there's not much in here. I accidentally grabbed all that stone. But I do need stone, so it's not a big deal. And just giving myself some time. And here I go again. That kind of gave me some hope because that looks like a little level 2 honeycomb wall. And I'm like thinking, well, there could be definitely something good in here. Got to give me some time. And here we go. And here's a chest. And there's some iron. So nothing great, but I need iron too. And I believe I take the red tickets. I was hoping for some guns or something really good in there, but the iron's not bad. So this is where I kind of blow it. I accidentally hit my chest. This is the problem when you prime this last chest. You really shouldn't do that. I got the oak and I had to run for it. And of course, like a bonehead, I run off right where my chopper is. You never run off where your chopper is. That's the worst thing in the world to do. Then you can't come back in the base without getting hit a couple times. And at this point, he was so primed up that walking back in the base would have basically killed me. So I just, even though it kind of sucked, I could have got a couple more better things out of this raid. I mean, that was pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one.